Chapter 2 The Freeway in the Desert. The next morning, Angel woke up before his alarm. This was unusual. For many years, alarms had pulled him from sleep, like creditors collecting a debt. But that morning, his eyes opened by themselves. The room was still dark. Outside Los Angeles had not remembered its hunger. No helicopters, no leaf blowers, no freeway roar, only silence. Angel lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. The question from the night before had followed him into sleep. Who are you when nobody is watching? He had dreamed of the award. In the dream, the glass trophy grew taller and taller until it became a skyscraper. Then the skyscraper filled with men in suits to clap politely while the building burned from the inside. No one ran, no one screamed. They simply applauded. When Angel tried to warn them, no sound came from his mouth. Then from somewhere above the smoke, he heard an old voice say, "A man who cannot speak truth has already sold himself." Angel sat up. His heart was beating fast. He reached for his phone. 5:13 a.m. The screen glowed with notifications, emails, news alerts, texts, calendar reminders, promotions, warnings. A machine of urgency. He stared at the phone and felt disgust. Not because the phone was evil, a tool cannot be evil, but because he had allowed the tool to become a master. He set it face down. For a moment he considered praying, but he had forgotten how. Not the words, he knew the words. He knew many words, strategic words, professional words, educated words, for presentations, words for interviews, words for making failure sound like learning and layout sound like restructuring. But the prayer required something different. The prayer required honesty. So he said the only honest thing he could say, "God, I don't know what I'm doing." The room remained silent, but somehow the silence felt less empty. By 7, the city had awakened. Los Angeles always woke reluctantly, like a giant forced back into labor. Angel drove east. He did not know why. His calendar said he had meetings. His inbox said he had responsibilities. His habit said he should go to work. But something older than habit had told him to drive east, so he did. The 10 freeway stretched before him, carrying the faithful to their temples. Corporate towers, hospitals, studios, campuses, government buildings, warehouses, courtrooms, banks. Each had its own rituals, its own priesthood, its own language, its own offerings. Some demanded time, some demanded obedience, some demanded innocence, all promised salvation. Angel watched the cars around him, a nurse drinking coffee from a steel cup, a gardener in a white pickup, a young woman applying makeup in the mirror, a man in a luxury sedan screaming into a headset, a mother handing cereal to a child in the back seat. All of them moving, all of them required somewhere, all of them tired. The freeway sign rose above them like commandments. Downtown, San Bernardino, Santa Monica, Hollywood, Long Beach. Directions without meaning. Everyone knew where they were going. Almost no one knew why. The sun climbed over the city. Its lights touched the glass towers first, then the billboards, then the overpasses, then the tents beneath them. Angel saw a man washing his face with bottled water beside an off-ramp. Above him, an advertisement showed a smiling family in front of a luxury electric vehicle. The slogan read, "Own the future." Angel laughed, not because it was funny, because it was obscene. The future had already been purchased, packaged, financed, and sold back to the people who would build it. At the next exit, traffic stopped completely. Angel looked ahead. Nothing moved. Cars filled every lane. Engines idled. Faces tightened. The city became a parking lot, and the parking lot had become a confession. A thought came to him. This is our desert. He looked around. There were no sand dunes, no camels, no shepherds beneath the stars, only concrete, heat, metal, exhaust, screens. But it was a desert all the same. A place where illusions dried out. A place where thirst revealed the truth. A place where men discovered what they worshipped. Angel remembered a book he had read years earlier, a shepherd boy crossing the desert in search of a treasure. He had loved that story once. Back then, when he still believed his own treasure waited somewhere ahead. A better title, a better salary, a better house, a better version of himself. But now he wondered whether he had misunderstood the journey. Perhaps the treasure was not ahead. Perhaps the treasure was something one had abandoned in order to chase the mirage. The car still did not move. Angel turned off the radio. For a while he listened to the city breathe. Then his phone vibrated. A text message appeared. No name, no number, just words. "Look up." Angel froze. He looked around the car, then at the phone again. Unknown sender. He laughed nervously. Probably spam, some strange marketing trick. But something in his chest tightened. Slowly he looked up. On the digital board above the freeway, an image appeared. Not an advertisement, not exactly. It was an old black and white portrait of a man with deep eyes, dark hair, and a face carved by discipline. Beneath it were the words, El respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz. Angel stared. He knew the face. Every Mexican child knew the face, even if they did not know the history. Benito Juarez. Then the billboard flickered. The billboard advertisement returned. The same smiling face, the same polished emptiness, the same command. Own the future. Angel gripped the steering wheel. His heart began to race again. The phone vibrated. Another message. You have been owned by the future you were promised. Angel looked at the sender. Still unknown. He typed back, "Who is this?" The reply came instantly. A friend of the Republic. Angel stared at the words. A horn blared behind him. Traffic started moving. Angel accelerated, but something inside him stopped. He exited in Boyle Heights. He did not plan to. The car seemed to decide before he did. The neighborhood received him like memory. Murals, panaderias, auto shops, churches, street vendors setting up beneath the morning sun, old men in cowboy hats, women carrying grocery bags, children in uniform walking towards school. Spanish floated through the air. Not the Spanish of textbooks, the Spanish of kitchens, of work booths, of lullabies, of prayers whispered before rent was due. Angel parked near a church. He sat for a moment with both hands on the wheel. The unknown messages had returned to normal. The unknown messages had stopped. The billboards had returned to normal. The world had resumed its disguise. But Angel could no longer trust appearances. He got out and walked. The sidewalk was cracked. A jacaranda tree had spilled purple flowers over the street. A vendor nearby turned masa with practiced hands. The smell of corn and smoke reached him. For a reason he could not explain, it nearly made him cry. He bought two tamales and a coffee. The vendor was an older woman with silver hair tucked beneath a baseball cap. "You look like someone gave you bad news," she said. Angel smiled weakly. "Maybe good news. I'm not sure yet." She handed him the bag. "Sometimes good news feels bad at first." He looked at her. "What does that mean?" She shrugged. "It means the truth hurts before it heals." Angel said nothing. The woman looked towards the church. "You should go inside." "I'm not really dressed for church." She laughed. "Mijo, got a scene worse than your shoes." Angel looked down at himself. Dress shirt, slacks, expensive watch. The badge from last night's event still on his jacket pocket. He suddenly felt overdressed for his entire life. "Do you know who Benito Juarez was?" he asked. The woman studied him carefully. "Of course. What was he?" She placed both hands on the card. "A man who understood that power must kneel before the law." Angel waited. The woman continued. "And the law must kneel before justice." The words entered him slowly, like water entering dry ground. Did you read that somewhere?" he asked. "No," she said. "I've just lived long enough." A bus passed. The street noise rose and fell. When Angel turned his back to thank her, the woman was helping another customer. Ordinary, human, real. And yet, he felt as if he had just received another message. Inside the church, the air was cool. Candles flickered beneath the image of Our Lady de Guadalupe. Angel had seen that image his entire life, in homes and shops, on candles, on tattoos, on rearview mirrors. He understood it culturally, historically, aesthetically, but that morning he saw something else. He saw the mother of the conquered refusing to disappear. He saw dignity wrapped in stars. He saw people that were told they were nothing become children of heaven. He saw his own mother, his own grandmother, the woman who crossed borders, the woman who cleaned houses, the woman who fed families before feeding themselves, the woman who survived empires that never learned their names. He knelt, not because he planned to, because his body knew what his mind had forgotten. For the first time in many years, Angel prayed without trying to sound intelligent. "Help me remember," that was all. "Help me remember." The candles trembled. The phone vibrated in his pocket. He hesitated, then pulled it out. Another message. "The first treasure is memory." Angel's breath caught. He looked towards the image of Guadalupe. Then at the phone. "Who are you?" he whispered. The reply appeared. "One who refused to be king." Angel's hands began to shake. Another message followed. "Come tonight, alone, bring no ambition." The screen went blank. No address, no instructions, nothing. Angel waited, and then the final message appeared. "You already know where." That evening, Angel drove to his parents' house. The house sat on a quiet street lined with old trees and parked cars. It was small, stucco, simple. His father had painted the fence 3 summers earlier. His mother had planted roses near the walkway. Angel had once felt embarrassed by the house. Not openly, he was not cruel, but quietly. In the hidden places where ambition becomes shame. When colleagues Vacation homes, renovations, investment properties. He had smiled and nodded. When they asked where he was from, he answered carefully, Los Angeles. Not East LA, not the neighborhood. Not the street, just Los Angeles. A larger word to hide a smaller truth. Now he saw the house differently. It did not look small, it looked faithful. A home that held together while the world taught everyone to want more. His mother opened the door before he knocked. Mijo, she said, surprised. You didn't call. I know. Are you hungry? He smiled. This was her theology. All problems began with hunger. Most could be improved with food. Yes, he said. She shrugged. She hugged him. The house smelled like beans, soap, and roses. His father sat at the kitchen table reading mail. He looked up. You okay? Angel wanted to lie. Habit grows quickly. I'm good, busy, tired. Oh, fine. But the word stopped. No, Angel said. His parents looked at him. The kitchen became very quiet. I got lost, he said. His mother touched his face. They need first, she said. Lost people need strength. And for the first time that day, Angel laughed. Not nervously, not professionally, truly. His father folded the mail. After dinner, he said, We talk. His father folded the mail. After dinner, he said, We talk. They ate simply, beans, rice, chili, tortillas warmed directly over the flame, no awards, no strategy decks, no performance metrics, no titles, just that food that tasted like somebody loved the world enough to season it. After dinner, his father led him to the backyard. The sky above LA had turned purple. Sirens wailed somewhere far away. A helicopter moved across the horizon. His father sat in an old chair. Angel sat beside him. For a while, neither spoke. Then his father said, You remember when you were little and wanted to be rich? Angel looked down. Yes. You told me rich people don't worry. Angel smiled proudly. I was stupid. No, his father said. You were young. Young people think money removes fear. Does it? His father shook his head. Nah, it just buys more expensive fears. Angel looked towards the roses. Did you ever want more? His father laughed. Every day. Angel was surprised. His father continued. But wanting more is not the problem. Forgetting what more is for is. That is the problem. The word settled over him. What is it for? His father looked at the house. For your mother to sleep without fear. For children to eat. For family to gather. For dignity. For helping someone when God sends them to your door. He paused. Not for becoming a little god? A little god. A little god. Angel thought of the billboards, the billionaires, the slogans. Own the future, build the future, escape the earth, conquer death, become limitless. Little gods everywhere. His phone vibrated. He ignored it. His father noticed. Do you need to answer? No. Good, his father said. Phones are like spoiled children. They think every cry deserves attention. Angel smiled. The phone vibrated again. This time his father nodded toward it. Maybe that child is serious. Angel pulled it out. One message. Asking what he carried across. Angel stared. His mouth went dry. He looked at his father. Dad, he said quietly, when you came here, what did you bring with you? His father leaned back. The question seemed to trouble through him, across years, across borders, across deserts that were not metaphors. I brought 2 shirts, he said, 1 pair of shoes, a little money, your grandmother's blessing. He stopped. Then he added, and fear. Angel waited. His father looked toward the darkening sky. But fear is not always bad. Fear tells you something matters. Courage is not having no fear. Courage is carrying fear without letting it become your master. Angel felt his chest tighten. What did you want? For you not to carry that same fear. Angel closed his eyes. There it was, the treasure, not in full, not yet, but near. All his life he had mistaken his parents' sacrifice for poverty. Now he saw it. Now he saw it was a form of wealth, a wealth no billionaire can manufacture, the wealth of people who gave without becoming gods, the wealth of humility, the wealth of love disciplined by duty, the wealth of remembering. The phone vibrated one last time. The desert has brought you to the first well. Angel looked up. The air was cool. Somewhere in the neighborhood, a radio played an old song. His mother came outside carrying coffee. His father accepted the cup. Angel accepted another. The three sat together beneath the Los Angeles sky. For a few minutes, the apocalypse felt far away. But across the city, behind glass towers and guarded gates, the architects were meeting. They had noticed the billboard failure. They had noticed the unauthorized messages. They had noticed the name Benito Juarez moving through the system where it did not belong. And for the first time in many years, the men who believed they owned the future felt something they had almost forgotten. Fear. Not of armies, not of governments. Not fear of markets, fear of memory, because people who remember are not easily ruled. And Angel Jose Pastrano, the successful imposter, have begun to remember.